All right, welcome back to another Wright Stew podcast. I am Paul Stewart.
And I'm Brian Wright, and we're getting closer every day to the big game, Super
The
Bowl.
big one, the Super Bowl. It's
With,
exciting. I mean,
the only time you ever care about commercials, I think, is during this game. Or at least
so it's interesting, and we were kind of talking about this the other day a little bit. So now when commercials come on, anytime I'm watching a game, and you said the same thing, I just go right to my phone.
Yep.
Like, I don't even know. And then you usually miss like the first minute or two back in the game because you're still scrolling through, whatever the social media platform is or email or whatever it might be. But you're right, Brian. This is the one time a year that people actually sit down and watch. But before we get to the commercials,
Okay.
what do you feel about Super Bowl parties?
As you would guess, I'm not a big party guy. I like to watch the game.
Yeah.
I like to, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the more I hear me say about myself, the more I think I'm ridiculous. You know what I mean? The more I hear what I say about myself and realize, maybe I am the one that's off in relationship with my wife who's very social. And the more I realize, I wouldn't mind watching it with like a couple of people. But getting with a big group of 20, 30 people and somebody's wanting to talk about something that's, may or may not care about.
Brian, are you a recluse? Is that what we're finding out?
I definitely can be. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to learn myself. And, I feel like that's what this life adventure is, Paulie. I'm still trying to find myself, if that makes sense.
Mid 40s, Brian, you should be.
I'm not quite the mid 40s. Mid 40s is not until April.
Okay.
I mean, here's the deal. I've done it. I don't particularly enjoy I don't mind going and getting together with some guys and hanging out for sure. But when it comes to the game, I like watching the game and like every detail of the game. Hey, what pattern did this guy do? Hey, what did that linebacker do on that? Why was that guy open? I'm very much a detail guy.
And a big part of it is like this is the last game for a while, at least for football, right? This is
man,
for a while.
Yeah,
I mean, soak it all in.
Yeah, my brother and I, we talk about it a little bit. It's like, dude, 8 months, 7 months at least, even for preseason stuff. I mean, and obviously we got baseball around the corner, but it's a different. I don't know. This is kind of like closing a chapter on a year. It feels like the Super Bowl closes that chapter.
Yeah, on a season for sure.
So hey, are you, Paulie? Or I'm going to imagine you are. You're a cooker.
I like. I can go either way. I enjoy watching the game, just kind of with my just immediate family, and watching the commercials and just enjoy it. I don't mind having people over. We actually have this big. I was actually just looking for a picture of it so I could share it, but. One of my good friends built this stadium that can store like snacks on it, and so it's really cool. It's hard to describe. I'll try to find the picture and post it on one of our socials.
Okay.
But it's essentially he built like this big wood stadium, and it stores. One section has Doritos, one section has that. You can put whatever you want in it.
Yeah,
I've used that for several parties, Super Bowl parties, kind of football theme parties. Put my starting lineups out on the little field.
Oh, do you really do you like interact it almost like a Nickelodeon type stuff?
No. That's actually pretty cool. When the Toy Story guys and stuff like that are playing. But so I can go either way with it. I'm good with having folks over, and I think most people around the Super Bowl, you'll get your people who gather around the TV who are really locked into the game, and then you'll get your kind of next row of people who are watching but also casually talking, and then you'll get your folks who are kind of just hanging out by the chips and dips and really.
Yeah, and that's probably the right way to go. Maybe I just haven't been to an appropriately arranged Super Bowl party.
Probably. So Super Bowl parties. So a big part of that though is, do you have a favorite Super Bowl food or snack that you like to really get into?
Oh gosh, that sounds terrible, dude. I think the food. It's funny, dude. I mean, it's like. I don't know if everything has to be like this big presentation, right? Why can't we just watch the game, Paulie? I mean, it's a game. It's just another. I don't know.
It's a celebration. We just
of what? What are we celebrating?
Of the end of the season.
Okay. Our team, hey, Paulie, our team is not in it.
The Panthers are not in it, but so even more reason to celebrate.
I think if the Panthers were in it, maybe I wouldn't be so negative about parties and food.
Yeah,
Any food. My wife makes a sausage cheese dip that's phenomenal. Usually makes it during that event.
sounds good.
So that's probably the go-to. But I don't know. I do fight the making things really a big deal, I guess, a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I actually had recently a nice sausage, beer, and cheese dip.
Yeah.
It's instantly became a family favorite. I like a good guacamole. I like having some brownies out there, some nachos. I'm not very discriminate when it comes to like party snack food. Pizza rolls, bagel bites are always good.
Pizza you can't go wrong with. Pizza is kind of the way to go. I think it kind of gives you all you need. You can get,
I'd be curious to see what the like pizza sales are on Super Bowl Sunday. How that
I'm imagining they're pretty strong.
they gotta be, man. Yeah, we've got several pizza places around here. Maybe she could get a job on Sunday, just deliver pizza. So.
Deliver pizzas, yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to the heart now, Brian. Super Bowl commercials. It felt like it started becoming a big deal, kind of when I was a kid. One of the first couple that, yeah, as I was kind of looking through the Mean Joe Green,
Yeah.
where he throws the jersey to the kid.
Kind of changed his whole like
His whole persona,
yeah, very much so. I mean, it's amazing what one commercial can do and how the nationwide can kind of change their view. Because I think he had the name Mean Joe Green for a reason, and it wasn't because he was nice on the field.
Yeah, and I didn't realize this. The Where's the Beef commercial? That was a Super Bowl ad as well with the old ladies for Wendy's.
I feel like they had to have carried it longer, but maybe it originated there. But they definitely maybe started the campaign there. Some of the Bud Light ones, they did good for a long time. Budweiser and what's that?
Oh, the fries.
They did a really good job.
The one I remember from a kid from the beer ones as well was the Bud Bowl.
Yeah.
The Bud Bowls. That was the stuff for us. And like little kid, like we were talking about like who's Bud versus Bud Light, and they had like kind of the little animated beer bottles running at each other.
Oh, they did a great job.
They had I think they had like the fridge or something that, they had one like broke one year or something. It was.
Oh yeah, well I just think the marketing around, and obviously Budweiser hooked himself with some of how they marketed themselves in the last handful of years, but traditionally their marketing was really good. Even if you weren't a beer drinker, you appreciated the commercials. It probably almost worked subliminally for a lot of ways, but yeah, really, really creative.
Yeah, and talking to my wife even earlier today, I asked her which one and she couldn't think of anything off the top of it, but she remembered like the Budweiser, the Clydesdales, the big horses. She mentioned that, and so I mean, some really iconic things that have happened with Budweiser and their marketing. You sent me one earlier today, Doritos. Doritos have done a really good job.
Yeah, so I'm gonna mention. Hey, if you don't mind, I think I can explain them well enough for
let's hear
this. If not, maybe we can put up a little clip here or there. But the two that stand out with, there's a couple that stand out, but the two that stand out with Doritos was the one that I sent you, the pregnant lady at kind of getting her OB test and doing a ultrasound, and all of a sudden the Dorito, he realizes the baby is tracking it, and then she throws the Dorito down at the bottom of her feet, and the baby, jumps out for the Dorito. That's a little aggressive. And then the other one that I've seen that I liked was the guy who would, they were eating Doritos and they'd stick their finger in this magic hole and they would get cleaned off. And they're like, does it work for anything else? He's like, no, only Doritos. So you see it from one side, they're sticking their Dorito fingers through the hole, and this guy's leaning down and sucking on fingers. Kind of gross, kind of hilarious, all at the same time. And then, hey, last one that I can really remember because my kids have gotten carried away, the one that was Puppy Monkey Baby. It was like a Mountain Dew energy drink. And I know Mountain Dew in other places is considered an energy drink in itself.
There you go.
But it was Puppy Monkey Baby. Puppy Monkey Baby. And it was talking about combining all three. And that one still sticks with me. And
so you guys are running around at the Wright household saying that all the time?
Yeah, Puppy Monkey Baby.
Yeah.
Puppy Monkey Baby. Yeah.
And there's been a lot to it. And most of mine, I guess it's more like nostalgia, but I think back to more when I was a kid with it, and I remember those a little more. The Cindy Crawford Pepsi ad. I mean, her
Yeah.
coming out of the car in the white tank top and the little jeans and the two boys looking, and man, that one changed some little boys for a while, I think.
Yeah, becoming young men. It's good.
Yeah, yeah. And then the Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, the showdown, I think they called it, where they had the horse game going on, and they just kept on, and nobody they're off the scoreboard, off the backboard, and that number, that one was really great as well. And then one that's I saw in a lot of these lists, and I don't remember. They called it Apple 1984 when Apple was introducing their home computer to essentially the world, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, now you have to have a product. I think what is it, 8.5 million for 30 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to have a product and some backing to be able to get in these commercials, and this is a significant investment. I mean, the money that's made during these games is got to be incredible. I'm sure there's a lot of cost of production, but really incredible.
Should we get a Wright Stew podcast commercial, Brian, out there on the?
Well, I'm about 8.499999999 short, but
Well,
yeah.
if anybody out there wants to share some airspace with us, we'll just take a second of your time. We'll throw the QR code up there. And I know that was a thing for a little while as well. Some of the like subliminal messaging people were talking about, they're buying space in between commercials for like fractions of a second. And
I do remember that, dude. Yeah, yeah.
I
You
don't.
see something that's like, what was that? And then it's like it almost starts a buzz. I gotta admit now that I'm thinking about it, like I do look forward to you know what I look forward to? Judging the commercials. I like after the game, whether it goes my way or not, I like to come back and be like, what was my favorite commercial? Oh, these guys wasted $8.5 million. Obviously there's been ones that have been really good, and then there's some you feel like, man, I don't even know what they were advertising.
Yeah, yeah. I know like GoDaddy had some for a while that were like kind of highly like sexualized, and everybody was like, well, like I don't know what they're advertising. I mean, it was essentially for like creating your own domain and creating your own website, but it was like what did one thing have to do with the other? So it was kind of wild, and you're right, but I think ultimately you're trying to create buzz, right? You're just trying to create some sort of momentum around your product and get people talking about your product. And yeah, sometimes though you're like, what just happened? Like you spent $8 million on that. So
Well, I just want to go back to something. I feel like you've been in this space from your work life a little bit, but like what it almost with GoDaddy and a lot of these companies' names, it's like, should you name your company something that relates to the product or what you're offering, or should you just name it something that catches the ear? And I do remember those commercials. I remember not knowing what they were trying to sell and thinking, are they selling like porn? Or are they selling like 1-800 numbers? Maybe it's 1-900 numbers. And
yeah,
so I do remember those. Yeah.
I mean, when you're making that kind of investment, you've got 30 seconds to really go for it, and it's interesting just to see the direction that some people choose to go with that. There was another interesting one too. It was a movie. So Disney had a movie, and this was kind of wild. So I guess they had it was a movie called John Carter.
I
Have you
remember
seen?
that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw it.
So Taylor Kitsch was the lead actor in it, and there there was some like epic like bad promoting going on for this movie. But one of the things that hurt him was they had two spots. I guess they had a 60-second and a 15-second spot. And there was a thing, I guess every company who has this, there's a stipulation that you may get bumped depending on what kind of commercial break is it. Because sometimes it's like an injury break and they go faster, and sometimes it's the full-fledged, 2.5 minutes, whatever it is. And so they were really trying to push this movie, and they'd had some trouble with it. And so the full 1 minute was a kind of an epic big commercial, but they got bumped to the 15-second, and they noted that as like what led to what they thought was not good not good box office ratings for that movie. So John Carter, I watched it later on. I didn't watch it when it came out, but I watched it a few years later. And I liked it. I thought it was great. It was supposed to be like one of those big three-part kind of movie deals, and didn't work out for him. So sorry.
I would evaluated it, and maybe we can do baseball movie reviews. I know we talked about some of those at times, but ultimately it was limited in what it felt like. The story was so limited. That's what I remember. I mean, just there was almost too much Disney touch in that one.
Yeah, I remember liking it. That's what I remember about it. So we wanted to give you an update. I had a loyal listener send us a message, and we were talking about, Brian, do you remember this talking about earwax?
Yes.
And I went a week without doing, so I usually do my Q-tips once a day. I went a full week without.
And you got some reward for that.
No, it was awful. Like I got like a little crust in my ear or something. I had to put Vaseline in it for a couple of days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the wax. So literally today, I get an earwax removal tool in the mail. It didn't just show up randomly. I ordered it, but it actually has like a little camera on it, and you can see the inside of your ear. Not exactly what I thought it would look like in there. A lot.
Oh, so you've used it?
Yeah. I got a video of it. I can see
It can't be. Yeah, it can't be good.
It's pretty. My ear was pretty clean.
Yeah.
A little hairier than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And then there was some gray stuff in there as well, which I think was normal. I went on like the internet and asked about it, and it seemed to be normal.
The internet's always right.
I sent it to my daughter who's studying to be a PA, and she said it looked normal.
Oh, good.
So I don't. And then so later on, my 7-year-old, I checked her ear out. Hers had more wax, and she was. So it actually syncs up to your phone, so you can see it kind of real time. So she enjoyed it.
So did you do it to yourself?
Yeah.
Like stick it in there, and you're like looking at your phone, kind of doing it all at the same time.
Absolutely. It was entertaining. Yeah, it was like 12.
Yeah. I like a good ear cleaning.
So next time you're over, I'll.
I don't know. I feel like maybe that's not sanitary for sticking cameras down each other's ears.
I'll spit on it or something. That'll be good. Yeah.
Hey, so you hit on it a little bit. Did you ever say like your favorite commercial? Paulie, do you have one that really jumps out? That's like, hey, this is the one I really recall. This is the one. I know you said from nostalgia you went to Cindy Crawford. So, Daddy. So I see where your mind is.
Probably those Bud Bowl commercials and honestly, I can't remember if they're Nike or McDonald's, but like the Michael Jordan. Yeah. Oh, Be Like Mike was a good one. I forgot about that one.
Was that a Super Bowl start?
Yeah, that was I want to be like Mike.
That was man. Yeah. You don't want to be like Marcus though. You want to be like Mike.
Be like Mike. Not like Marcus. Yeah, he's been in a little trouble. So, but yeah, I think again that leans back, and it's something I do look forward to every year though, seeing the commercials and the creativity. I'd like to think of myself as a little bit creative, so I like to see what others.
I would like to think of you that way too.
Yeah. So, any other big happenings in your role, Brian? Anything you want to share?
No good stuff. Baseball season, at least middle school baseball season, around the corner. Couple scrimmage games coming up, and so gearing up for that. That's it, brother. Hey, and we got some more guests that are probably gonna come on. We got some things getting ready to happen on this little podcast.
Got some guests lined up. Maybe it ties to March Madness.
Maybe
you'll have to wait to find out. So, well, thank you for listening today. We appreciate it. Like I said, comment, share your favorite commercials in YouTube if you can. Let us know. Send us an email, wrightstewartpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear that interaction. Otherwise, thanks for listening today. Have a great one.
Out. Go Pack.